This is Unleashed Leaders of Change. Recognizing the leaders of change who fought against all odds to unleash a legacy of strength and triumph. I'm Szebastian Onne, the almost naked CEO, and I'm here because I care and because I give a damn.
What's going on, people? I'm Szebastian Onne, the almost naked CEO, and I'm here because I care and because I give a damn to build each other up, to dream big and make it happen. Now, you see logos everywhere. Any item you have in your house, anything you eat, anything you wear, anything you do in your life, logos are everywhere. Brands are everywhere. Even if you go to $2 shop, reject shop, it's all a brand. Everything is a brand. But can brands, can branding, can logo change this world? Well, guess what? They've been doing that all since forever. Since the history of humankind, things have been branded even before we knew what branding means, right? And today we have an exciting person discussing everything about changing the world through branding, through logos, and guess what? Even through plans. Now you're thinking logo, brands, plans, doesn't make sense. Well, it's going to make sense in a second. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Lora Starling. First of all, I have to say I love Lora's last name, Starling. I love how it is spelled, the first name Lora. It just makes it stand out. It's like she's a brand of her own. And then Starling, I just love the name. It's beautiful, it's twinkling. And here's the fun part I'm going to share that I've never, ever, ever shared before in my life on air. My birth name is Twinkle. So Starling, Twinkle, twinkling stars, perfect match, right? And that's this person. She's such a beautiful person. I love her for her energy, for everything that she is. And she truly is an unleashed leader of change. So let's begin the season 5 premiere of Unleashed Leaders of Change with none other than Lora Starling. Hey Lora, how are you going?
Hi Szebastian, I'm well, how are you?
I am excited to finally have you live. We've done this before, but we have never done this live.
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
I am so excited. So Lora, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you come from, because you've had a bit of a journey. You've moved around the world a little bit. So
when
right now, you're in Melbourne, Australia, but you've had quite an international life and experience. If you don't mind telling a little bit about yourself.
Of course, I was born in Melbourne. And then I did my graphic design training over here and decided I want to see the world and really be as good as I could be in graphic design. And it was all happening in the 70s in London. So I went and I got a fantastic job in London and started my own business in graphic design there and stayed in England. It was lovely. It was really sparky and I was right in the international set. It was wonderful and working with blue chip companies. was fantastic. And then I kept coming back to Australia all the time to see my parents and to see my friends. And fortunately, I got stuck in Australia with COVID this time. I could have equally still been in England because I was doing 6 months, 6 months. And now in that process as well, and through the traveling and through meeting different people, I've changed the way that I work totally, and I love the way that I work now. It's done a complete 180 degrees, and I know we're going to talk about that.
Absolutely. I was actually about to ask exact same thing. What has changed? 'Cause of course, the world is right now going through such a major change. Everybody's working from home. Even if you're not, there's so much precaution, there's so much politics. I don't want to get into all that. But the world is changing so rapidly and it's so scary. How did it all change for you in terms of moving from London? Of course, as you said, it wasn't really a choice, it just happened. So number one, how did you cope with it? And number two, what exactly changed in your business and your operations when it comes to professional life?
I was in my 40s and I had the perfect life, the absolutely perfect life, living in London. I owned my own building just south of the River Thames in the city of London. I had blue chip clients, a great husband, 2 children, the nanny, the house, everything. And I thought, is this all there is to life? I think many of us do that at around that age. And I thought, this isn't making a better world. It's making people rich that I don't particularly want to make rich. I'd much rather bring riches in changing, people who really can create a better world. And I looked into it, but the process started with looking inside myself, really. So I studied all sorts of different modalities. And I know, you want to go into that a bit later. I started with the herbs, and that started to take me on an immense journey. How can we reach lots of people in the world to change their thinking, to help people to take care of themselves instead of slavishly following somebody else's brand or somebody else's belief system, or thinking that they're going to make it if they drive a particular car or own a particular jumper or display a particular logo on their t-shirt. How can we unplug from that, and how can we truly find what it is, our purpose in life? And I think that became my passion. So the first thing was to find mine, and then having found mine, I thought, this opens it up to everybody to do the same. If I can lead people with what I know with branding and the modalities that I work through, then maybe we can create the shift that the world really needs to see. And especially with COVID happening at the moment, people are frightened and terrified. There's nothing we can do. We don't really totally trust our leaders anymore. Where do we find the leaders we can trust? We talked about this politically just a whisker, didn't we? Where do we go? Who do we trust? I think we go inside ourselves, learn to trust, our intuition. We're all brilliant beings. My clients are amazing.
Absolutely. And that's where, the branding really begins from within. But here's the misconception, or not even misconception, a stereotype image people have, that making a logo is just about, putting some text and some pictures together and, oh, I like parrots, I like peacocks, so I'm just going to put my name with a peacock and that's my logo. But logo is not just that. It's a much more deeper process, and you really get involved with it. If you enlighten us a little bit about, the whole process, why logo is such an important part of branding.
It's when we use it intentionally. So it is, and there's no point. I mean, you love the idea of the parrot. I love parrots. I'll have a parrot and I'll call it, I don't know, Starling or something. I'll call it something completely different because you like it. A logo is about having an intention to share something from ideally a deep resource, and people that I work for, with the rest of the world so that it can grow. So you attract the people that you want to attract through your logo. So every time we take a decision in the design, we're dripping in the intention, we're paying attention. I don't know if you know much about the quantum world, but we build, whenever we have a thought, it exists in the quantum world. We don't, all our thoughts and our memories aren't in our head. It's a subject for another day. But this is a scientific thing. It's not a woo-woo thing. So when we have a thought or when we have another belief, we spark that change in the world that other people can access that. So we need to reach out. A logo is a bridge. So we have to speak the language or the frequency or the resonance through every element that we choose in the logo And that's the color, that's a symbol, it's the word. It's what I call a mantra, but it's really a slogan. If you think about it, soft and strong, or I'm loving it, it's the real thing, power to you. They're like mantras. They've got nothing to do with the products that they're selling. They're selling us a dream. So let's
Yes.
create our own dreams and deliver them.
Absolutely. And I think you're right on the money when you say logo itself is a mantra, because it's a visual mantra. Just as much having a motto is important, understanding your brand, having the message clear is important, but the message begins from the first sight. Even before people read your motto, even before they read your catchphrase, it's the logo. When you just mentioned I'm loving it, people just look at the M and they have an entire picture in their mind. It's hunger, it's delicious, it's junk food, it's tempting, it's family, it's happy meals. So many things come in mind just from a single M. So you're so right on the money. For branding, the first thing that we need to think about is, what are people going to look at? And what story will that start? What mantra will go in their mind? What message will they get by just seeing that? Let's talk about Facebook. It's just a simple F, but now everybody recognizes it. So does that really matter in branding? Like, should the logo be very simple always, or should it be complicated? Should it be a combination of colors? How do you decide that? How do you decide what will the logo be?
I allow almost the logo to speak for itself. So in all of my clients, I have it's not a complex, it's a very simple questionnaire, but it's designed to provoke how they will feel when they see their logo, or how they will feel, not when they see their logo, how they will feel when they get their vision, when their vision is a reality to them. And then we start, that gives them a set of values, but which all brands have a set of values that they can test any designs that come up against. So, it's like they open the door, their dream has come true. How does it feel? What does it look like? What colors come to mind? It's more complex than that. But so it's not just choosing, I like blue. Now, we'll take into account other things as well. I mean, you mentioned Facebook, and Facebook is blue, and blue is the most popular color for brands. And yet, it's the last color that tribes were able to recognize. And there are still indigenous people who don't have a name for the color blue. It's just seen in the sky. It's really interesting, and yet now it's the most color they use because it evokes trust, and it's the throat chakra. It's how we express ourselves. And you look at Facebook and Twitter; they're all ways of expressing ourselves. They're nearly Skype. They're nearly all blue. Banks and building societies, solicitors. It's often you can trust me. So we would take that into account, but even so, you can put a little bit of yellow with it or a little bit of red with it, and it just changes that blue, and people notice that. They notice those differences.
It is about those changes, and it's about the message, and it is actually about the communication. It's funny we are talking about this because for me, my brand, and for Dramaniac and other things I'm doing, September for us is communication month, and that's what the logo is doing. And Lisa is watching. Lisa Dickinson says, powerful technique for transformation and change. Really fascinating interview. Thank you for tuning in, Lisa. I'm assuming she's one of your friends.
She is, and she's in England, so thank you.
Thank you for staying up so late. I think it's midnight there right now. I'm so sorry for you have to be up at this hour, but we really appreciate you. Then somebody called Frothing Grom on YouTube is saying, will this be starting soon? Yes, it is starting soon. It is already halfway through. So it is about communication. Logos are about, the moment your eye contact with the logo begins, the communication is happening. Brand is all about sending a message. But here is the most important question. How does a logo or a brand change the world? Because that's one of your mottos. That's one of your more very clear missions. How do you change the planet?
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on. I think logos have already changed the world. I mean, do you know there's something like, I think there's about 4 companies control most of the food production in the world. They will be identified with something. We get that. Look, we want things, we desire things. I know I fall into it. I'll go shopping and I'll see a branded product for a half price sale or whatever it is, or I'll buy and I go, yes, I want to do with that. And I personally try not to wear branding on me, because we are energy bodies, and those brands hold a certain energy to them. If you think Reiki symbols, that people throw a Reiki symbol into a room, and people who are more sensitive than me can sense that, they can feel that. We can work with symbols to create energetic changes in the world. A lot of people are doing that. Joe Dispenza's doing a whole course on it at the moment. You know, it's really gaining recognition that we focus on a symbol and we create a shift inside ourselves. If we're seeing the logos all the time, we're getting that energy whether we know it or not. I mean, the football's about to take place over here, and all of Victoria's going completely insane with it. I don't particularly like ball games, but I'm just watching it engages a whole state, engages a whole country. The logos, the plethora of logos that there are from telecommunications companies, car companies, insurance companies, it works because it works. You just need to see that logo. So it's time for us to create our own. I don't want to see it as a battlefield, but we can all create a logo, and we too can have a powerful intention, and we can deliver that to the world merely by thinking about it. We don't have to spend millions to have it on the grass on a football ground, because it works at so many levels, at quantum levels, at emotional levels, and obviously at the physical levels.
Absolutely, and it is actually all about intention. You know, I'm very big about living life intentionally, creating everything intentionally. So it begins from logo. It begins from the brand itself. And when you set your intention to something, then you visually and with your message, with your work, it's, if you look at it, all your work, all your message, it is all branding. Everything you're doing personally and professionally, that is a brand.
Absolutely.
You're creating the brand that way, right? Now, we're going to have to take a quick break, but before we do that, I just want to put up one more comment from Rick Dexter, who says, I love the thought process with Lora. So before we go on break, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your experience with Rick?
With what?
With Rick, he's saying he loves the thought process with you. So do you want to share your experience?
About Rick.
Yeah.
Yes. He's a very good friend. He actually challenges me, because he says, I'm not quite sure what you do. So it's wonderful, and I love having conversations with Richard, because he will actually just say to me, well, I don't get it, I don't get what you do. So hopefully this interview he will get it a little bit more of what I try and do.
Well, that's our aim, that's the purpose. So we'll take a really quick break and we'll be right back, guys. This is Unleashed Leaders of Change with me, Szebastian Onne, and guest of honor, Lora Starling, and we'll be back with you in a minute.
This is Unleashed Leaders of Change. Recognizing the leaders of change who fought against all odds to unleash a legacy of strength and triumph. I'm Szebastian Onne, the almost naked CEO, and I'm here because I care and because I give a damn.
And what fun. I just had a drink of water and spilled a lot over myself. So this is Unleashed Leaders of Change. I unleashed lots of water on me. So I am right now talking to Lora Starling. As I said, I love her name. I love her energy. And we're talking about how logos, branding can change the world. And I also want to touch on how herbs, the plants, play a part in all that. So Lora, we were talking about the logos, the branding, how intentionally we can actually create the change. We can, really message in everything. We can transform the entire community. In this process, as you've been doing branding and logo, you stepped into plants. It's interesting how you explain how plants play a role in branding and logo. Tell me what that's all about, because I'm sure people are wondering, plants, logos, what's that got to do with each other?
It's very weird, and it really came almost like blindsided me. It came out of the blue. When I was querying about how could we make a better world and how one could reach more people with a message of we've got to stop doing what we're doing, or change the way that we do things, and we can't keep making bigger companies and consuming more. And I thought, how can I do that? And I thought, what is there in the world that can also reach a lot of people? Because branding does that, branding in an instant. You've delivered a message to millions of people. And I thought the plants are available to everybody. The plants are actually out there. And they have, no matter how rich or how poor you are, the plants are there for us all. So I started studying herbalism, and it was very grounding, and it was amazing. And I can't tell you how amazed I was at how powerful the plants are, that they work on a cellular level. I really think that in many, many cases, it would be wonderful to start with the plants and then go to the doctor for the medicines that do always have a side effect. We know that, it's not necessarily a bad side effect, but they only target the illness, whereas the plants will regain balance, and they're nutritious. They work at many levels. So I started treating people herbally. And they got better, and I thought, this is really interesting. And to the point where a doctor phoned me once and said, how did you get rid of this woman's eczema? And I said, well, she worked with the plants. We just did her diet. It was really simple stuff. Teachers, diet, connecting with the plants was amazing. But I thought there's more. So I started making a few flower remedies, and they're really easy. I mean, I just put, a little bit of water under the plant. They're my choice, and I knew what that plant was for, and then you take a few drops of that water for an emotional response. And there was a child once who was completely hysterical on being tutored by a woman, and she said, I can't deal with this child, he's hysterical. And I said, we could try these flower remedies if you want, I've made them, I don't know whether they'll work or not. She came out literally 20 seconds later and said, I won't do a South African accent, but I've never seen such a change in a child in all my teaching. What did you give him? I've been doing this for 30 years. And I went, I gave him dandelion and comfrey, a flower remedy. And she said, it's amazing. So, well, this is interesting. And then I read a book called Plant Spirit Medicine. And that's when you journey to the plants and you create a dialogue with the plants, or you listen to what they say, and they literally tell you how they will work with you. And I started treating people using plant spirit medicine. Really weird, but absolutely works. It's so powerful. It's shamanic. It's a beautiful, beautiful process, and people were walking away feeling better. At that point, however, I was only doing one person at a time, and I was getting fairly frustrated. I felt like a doctor of plants, and I thought, this is driving me bananas. And the two worlds collided. I thought, I love logos. I can work with logos. The plants showed me the steps. I can work with logos at a physical level. I know how they should look, what color they should be, how to get that right with a Pantone on the right paper or cloth or however it's being done. I can work with, and I can do good design. I can work with them at an emotional and mental level, because that's the driving force of every brand, how we feel about it. If we fall out of love with our logo, we fall out of love with the brand. So, and different colors make us feel differently. Shapes make us feel different. We feel differently if we see a line to a triangle, or things used in branding. And we feel differently with different words. So that was the emotional side. But then we also have this, let's call it spiritual or quantum side, where we can work energetically. We're energy bodies. We know we're 99.9% empty space. We are, if we put a logo on our heart chakra, and we think the scientific evidence is that our heart chakra has an energy that is huge, that reaches way, way beyond our magnetic resonance energy of our head. So our heart reaches out before our head gets it, and it delivers the message to our head. Why would I want a logo over there? Or if I do want a logo over there, why would I not want my logo there? So that resonates with the rest of the world, and so on and so on. It just became delicious with it, like little crumbs with every step. I thought, this is so much more powerful. And I bless the plants every day for taking me on that journey. And when I do my work, the way that I do the journeying process to meet with the logo, to meet with the elements so that we can do the inner work, I always go to the center of the earth. Because if we don't start taking Mother Earth into account with the decisions that we're taking about the future of our world, then we really, are headed for disaster.
Absolutely. And I just want to read a comment from Frothing Grom, watching with Paul from Bargara, Australia, enjoying the insight into the power of logo. Thank you so much. Now, I don't know, Frothing Grom, what's your name? But, feel free to let us know. Do you recognize this
I
name?
don't, but I know who Paul is. Paul is my brother, our half brother. And I didn't know that my half brother existed until I was 26 years old. And we are also, I'm working with him doing an intentional piece of art to change the way that we think about the oceans.
Beautiful.
Can be used in many ways.
Somebody says intention, I'm all for it. So, I love it. And Patty says, I agree. I am not sure which part you're talking about, Patty. So let us know what do you agree with. Patty is a good friend of mine, and she is actually also called the Candid Coach. I call her the Candid Coach Mama because she's beautiful. So Laura, it's beautiful how you explain how plants work. And I think we actually need to have another conversation purely on how the herbs, the plants actually play a part in life, because I'm very curious. Another thing that comes to my mind is plants. If you look at it, there's a lot of logos out there that do actually have plants in them, that do have flowers and plants and various different kinds of nature. And I think what I find amazing is, do people actually put a lot of thought into it while creating it as much as you do? Because I know you are so detailed, so intentional about all the logos. So when you're creating a logo, what is the first thing that you keep in mind? I come to you and I want you to create a logo for me. What's the first thing you ask me or keep in mind while designing or suggesting a logo to me?
The first thing and the most important thing, Sebastian, is who are you really and what do you really want? It's you. It is all about you. And who do you need to reach in order for you to make that come true? Because it really is, I think, every human being has more power than we realize on the planet. And I love it when people share their innermost dreams. And if we can build those, wow, what a movement we can create. Individuals doing that, not some army going and doing something and following some leader because they feel it's right, not handing your power over to somebody. I see your power, what you want to do. Let's make that a reality and to make the world a better place. And I have to also say, I do only work with people who I'm very picky about who I work with, but my clients are amazing. That I don't know how they find me. They're people who really are ready to be seen and ready to make the change the world needs.
And I think it's only fair to be picky, because at the end of the day, you want to work with people that you can serve well. When you're choosing people you're working with, what is it that you focus on as a person? Because it is again about branding. I am my own brand. You are your own brand, and the person you're working with is a brand, and you're helping them to create a more formal, more official brand. So what are some of the qualities you look for in people when you're selecting them, and what is it that connects you to them in deciding, this is the person I want to work with?
It sounds really weird, and I'm going to say that it's the four-letter word that we all go, you can't say that. It's love, but it's actually people with an open heart who really want to create better in the world, not people who, for the love of money or for the love of wanting to be seen better. It's the people that don't have the egos, that just really feel they want to create a better. There is more, and they have the confidence they can access that more and reach the people that count. And there's millions of people out there that are like that. It's time. It's a time for the individual. I don't really go into astrology in a big way, but what I love very simply is we are going into the age of Aquarius, where I believe we're fully in it. I don't know, and that is the time of the individual. And let's just wake up to that.
Absolutely. Patty is saying, Laura, I gently pull fresh dandelion roots and steep for wonderful digestion. And
the dandelion is magical. It's one of my favorite. It's the sunshine, and every season the dandelion is beautiful with its lovely little umbrellas flying into the wind, and it seems to encompass all the elements, the earth, air, fire, and water as well, because the roots go deep into the earth. The air carries the little umbrellas off. The fire is like this. It looks like the sun, the flower, and the leaves are juicy. You know, in France, they eat the dandelion leaves in spring, and it clears out your liver because it's a bitter herb. And when you have a bitter herb, it makes your gallbladder squeeze a little bit as you taste it. And it's a beautiful green, fresh green to have. The plants are quite amazing.
Absolutely. And Sue says, I always think people who design logos are very clever. Well, thank you. That's my sister, actually. So I'm excited to see her. It's, that's what I was. It's funny that all the people right now here are all about nature and plants and branding and design, because she's that creative that way. You are, and Patty and you are actually. I think you, me, and Patty have this in common. We love plants of different types. I wouldn't call myself on the spiritual side, but I'll still say, I love talking to the nature. I love talking to beauty of natural things, everything around me on the, different plants. I love cactus of all kinds. I tell Patty all the time. Anyway, without digressing, I just want to say that, we love all plants. You have actually written books about branding, logo, and all your experiences. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about your books, you have written, I believe, 3 books now.
I have, and I should be able to do this, but I haven't. The first book I wrote, when I started delving into it, I realized how powerful logos were. The first book is called The Logo Decoded, and it's about, let's just really select carefully what logos we want to display on our bodies or what we want to buy into. And it dabbles a little bit into scientific stuff like epigenetics. We might like a logo, could be handed down from our parents because our parents liked it. They had the same breakfast cereal on the table. It made them feel good. And we may be recognizing it from the past. And it goes a lot into the history as well about, sympathetic medicine, which was used on cave walls. So, and the Venus of Willendorf, who was a fat little lady, because they did that because a fat woman meant that the tribe would be well fed and fertile and things like that. And they would use symbolism to call that which they wanted. And it goes into that in great detail. So it's really raising our awareness of the power of symbols and words and colors and all the elements in a logo. The second book is called Identify Yourself, which shows us how we can all choose our own color, our own letter spacing, our own typeface, our own symbol, put those together and deliver those so that we can get what we want. And that doesn't have to be actually for a business. It could be we found a house for somebody once, it can be finding a partner. It's taking those powerful elements that have been used through history, expressing the logo and delivering them to the world so that, we attract that which we want at that frequency. And the Future You book is a little book, and it encompasses a lot of what's in the first 2 books with a lot of new information in it as well. And I'd be very happy to send people that free of charge if they want to pay the postage. If they're in India or somewhere masses, or if it's in Australia, very happy to share that.
Well, you just now said that you don't have the book to hold. So I just thought, what? You don't have the book to hold, but we do have technology, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let people see the book covers right here.
Oh, you're a star. Thank you.
There you go. So here are all the how's that? And guys, you can actually follow Lora on Lora Starling's Insight. That's the business page. And we will also have all that information on the page, on this page in the next 24 hours. If you look at the crawler going down underneath, it says influencers.romaniac.com/Lora. You'll find all the information about her business, what she does, her books, and everything else, a little bit of her bio and everything. And I saw some beautiful comments from Patty, so I just want to share that as well. And she's actually been, doing the work for us. She's been talking about the book. So she said, The Logo Decoded. And Identify yourself by Lora Starling, and there we go. Lora Starling Insights, your page. There you go. You've got a new fan. Patty is taking care of everything. So you guys should actually connect because you guys are so alike. So as you were writing these books, and I'm sure as you just said that Rick also says he doesn't really understand what you do. When you ask people, do you get this impression from people sometimes like, well, logo, you can get it done on Fiverr. What's the big deal? Have you ever been compared that way, and how do you respond to that?
I've never been compared that way because it's a completely different thing. I could, I'm trying to think of an analogy here. I could probably make you a hat in 5 minutes, with a bit of newspaper or something. It will work perfectly well. It will keep the sun off your face and will do the job nicely. Are you going to wear it? But it's the intention that goes behind it. How can somebody and I don't want to, Fiverr's great. I'm not really not putting it down, but this is more than just about design. It's somebody truly seeing you, sharing their innermost, not necessarily a secret, their innermost desires and expressing that in a logo. So, I could sit here and design 10 logos for you, probably in about 5 minutes, and they would probably look quite nice and they would probably work, but all they're going to do is just it's a nice little design. It's a nice little design that will work perfectly well as a logo, and they will all look quite nice, but they're not embodying your intention. We're not investing them with the feelings. And as I said before, the four-letter word is love. We're not putting love into it. We're not putting care. We're not putting attention. Nobody's worrying. How does the A sit next to the L if there's an A and an L? How, every detail, as we pay attention to that detail, holding the intention, holding what it is you want to see in the world. We're embedding that in the design. So when it delivers, it has that resonance. That's Absolutely. What you don't get. So it's not just the design.
Right. And Patty agrees with you. She says, agreed, intimate, trust, intention. And it is exactly all about, logo. Yes, you can design a logo, as you said, in 5 minutes, but putting in the intention, putting in the clear message. Why is it important to me? How does my logo connect to my brand? How does it connect to my audience? Is entirely what makes a logo just another logo or a powerful logo, right? And I just want to acknowledge my bonus mother as well. I say bonus mother because Kathy is my another mother in America. She just said, hello, my child, Szebastian. Hi, Mom. Love you. So that's what it is, putting the intention, understanding the message from within. As you said, the love, it needs to come from love, because at the end of the day, you're serving people and you need to serve with love, because how you intend to help others is how you're going to grow, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Lora, we need to wrap up, but before we do, I want to ask you, now life is pretty much in Melbourne, at least for now. What are your plans ahead? What are you planning to do in next coming years once this COVID and everything is over? What are your plans?
I'm doing it, as far as my work goes, I'm doing a course so that people can do this course online and learn how to do their own logos, because there's only so many people that, that I can take on board, and it's a slower process and it's a more expensive process. So I just really wanted to make it available and get to as many people as I can. So that's a little held up with COVID, but I'm on to that. And as far as personally, well, I don't know, but I've just got a granddaughter, and that's quite extraordinary. That's actually quite enough. If you're talking about love, that's love. So I'm enjoying that. No doubt I will go back to the UK. I don't know whether we will ever or how soon we will see travel as we knew it. I do love travel. But Australia is a beautiful country too. And I think when we can't go far and wide, which we often long to do, we can go deep. We can enjoy the places at a deeper level where we are. I mean, the trees out in my street are extraordinary. They're beautiful, bring me such joy. So we can see. And I think we're in unknown territory. Hence, I think it's really good to know who we are in that. So when we take a step, we're taking a step knowing that we're doing the best we can for our own spirit, our own lives, our own friends, our own family, our own world.
Absolutely. I actually love that, you said that it's time to go deeper. That's actually what's happening in this world right now. We've got a little bit more time instead of the hustle and bustle. So we've got the time to explore within and start, I think, a new journey. So Laura, where can people find the information about the courses that you're offering? Are they already on your website?
We're doing them, and it'll probably be I'm not even going to put a time scale on it. It'll probably be a month or so, I would say. But the website is my name, lorastarling.com, and people can sign up to the newsletter and things like that. I'm around. It's such an unusual name. Google it.
It's a beautiful name, just like you. It's Starling. As I said, I have never publicly shared my birth name, but because of your last name, I did. You're Starling, I am Twinkle, it works. So the name is right here, guys, lorastarling.com. You can also find all the information about Lora on influencers.romaniac.com/Lora. It will be ready in 24 hours after the show. You'll see every information, including her podcasts, her other information. She is full of joy, full of information and knowledge. And I see there's still comments coming. We have to wrap up, but there we go. Patty says, congratulations, grandmas are the best.
I'll agree with that one.
And Kathy says, enjoy your granddaughter, Laura. And Patty also said, there you go. Patty is your marketing person from now.
I look forward to meeting her.
Absolutely. You guys should connect. So Laura, before we wrap up and before you go, what's the one message you have for people right now going through such a strange situation and upheaval? And, people are losing track of their own branding. People are trying to pivot. People are trying to blindly walk into things they don't know if they mean to do because they're just panicking. What's the message you have as a person who's herbalist, who's a designer, and who's such a soulful person?
Goodness, I wish you'd asked me that before. I would have tried to think of something deep and meaningful and clever. I just think it's time to be you. It's time to be you, who you truly are. And if not now, then when?
Absolutely. I love that. Just like the logo, you kept it short but simple. It is, if not now, then when? Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laura. I love spending time with you. And we need to reorganize and do another show all about herbalism and, how it changed your life.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please don't go anywhere. Stay in the green room. I'll catch up with you in a second. So guys, that was Lora Starling, and that's how through branding, logos, and herbs, you can change the world. It's all about intention. It's all about really just creating the design, the logo with love. Thank you, Lisa. I love it. She just said, great quote to end the interview. Absolutely. Actually, you know what, Lisa? This is not the end of the interview. I'm going to call it part one of many with Lora, because Lora is Starling and she is unlimited. She's, a blessing. She is a beautiful person, and I need her back again and again. We actually have some things in the planning, which we'll share with you later. So for now, my lips are sealed. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. This was, I was going to say the wrong show name. This was Unleashed Leaders of Change with me, Szebastian Onne, the Almost Naked CEO. I'm here because I care and because I give a damn. I'll see you next time. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Romaniac TV, and dream big, make it happen.
This is Unleashed Leaders of Change. Recognizing the leaders of change who fought against all odds to unleash a legacy of strength and triumph. I'm Szebastian Onne, the Almost Naked CEO, and I'm here because I care and because I give a damn.